Sawasdee Krap or Xing Chao, wherever you are in Thailand or Vietnam. Personally, I'm in Hanoi right now. I'm in Vietnam, and I'm gonna make this video brief and talk about two things. One, I'm gonna talk about the new vaccine restrictions for entry to Thailand, and two, I'm going to talk about my opinion, which matters a lot less. So I'm not gonna waste any time, let's get into it. So first thing, here in the Bangkok Post, you can see this story called China Ends Quarantine. And that's exactly what happened. China ended their quarantine. And so millions of Chinese people who have been oppressed and locked up under draconian COVID restrictions for the last 3 years are now free. And one of their favorite places in the whole world is the Kingdom of Thailand, the land of smiles. And so they're just so excited to go to Thailand. And wouldn't you be? And the second part of this story is this: COVID jab rules for travelers have been confirmed. So I'm just gonna read this for you. Aviation regulator says requirement will apply to all passengers on international flights landing from 1 a.m. on Monday. So starting, today is the 8th for me here in Vietnam. Starting tomorrow at 1 a.m. it will be mandatory to be vaccinated, double boosted, or to have a note from a doctor saying that you have recovered from COVID in the last 6 months, plus a PCR test to enter the country as of January 9th, 2023. It says here, the requirement that all international travelers show proof of full COVID-19 vaccination before boarding flights to Thailand will take effect from Sunday. Yeah. What else do they say here? Another stipulation to enter Thailand is that you will also need health insurance that will cover the cost of hospitalization should you befall the coup. And that will run you about 40 to 80 US dollars per month depending on your age. Another extra cost. Okay, so that's the news. There's not much more to it than that. If you were planning to come to Thailand and you are not vaccinated, you either get vaccinated or you find an ulterior, I'll say there's another way you can go about this, but I probably can't talk about it because I will be censored by YouTube if I tell you the other way to get into the country. It has nothing to do with counterfeit vaccine passes. Okay, so let's do the second part of this video. If that's all you wanted to hear, that's all you needed to hear, you can leave. If you want to stay and agree with me or get triggered with my opinions, then you can stay. What does this mean for you, and what does this mean for Thailand? Well, if you have a flight to Thailand booked and you're not jabbed, you're in a bit of trouble, aren't you? I don't know exactly the numbers of the population of the world who are not jabbed, but I would say that in the Western world, it's still a considerable amount. A lot of people chose not to get injected with the highly dangerous and highly experimental mRNA vaccine. Now, I'm not a doctor. This is not advice. This is not medical advice. I'm just a dude with a GoPro. But there seems to be a significant amount of people around the world suddenly collapsing with heart attacks, even though they're athletic, young, perfectly healthy people. And the mainstream media of the world blames this on climate change. They blame it on Trump supporters. They blame it on conspiracy theorists. They look everywhere but the obvious, to me, the obvious culprit. Wow, what happened in the last 2 years that could create suddenly a massive increase in heart attacks amongst young, healthy, athletic people? If you look it up on YouTube, you'll see news anchors fainting, dropping dead, live on air, athletes playing football, soccer, hockey, collapsing, dead of heart attacks on the ice. Little kids, aged 10 years old, having heart attacks. I wonder why. So, is it any surprise that many people in the world don't trust Big Pharma, don't trust these corrupt politicians, and don't want to put themselves in danger just so they can travel? Thailand was really devastated by the restrictions. Entire neighborhoods went out of business, and entire industries. People lost their homes, they lost their lives. Many Thai people committed suicide because the tourism industry, which is a massive part of their GDP, just suddenly disappeared with the lockdowns and the restrictions. And now tourism is booming since Thailand opened up again. Why would they go and shut down the economy again and redirect millions of tourists? And don't kid yourself, millions of people will now choose not to go to Thailand. Why would they do that? Well, it's obviously because of China. They're scared of China. But I don't think it's even that they're scared of China. If you spend enough time in Southeast Asia, you realize that most of the Southeast Asian countries are very xenophobic and they're very nationalistic and racist. I mean, let's be real. If you've been here and you've hung out with Southeast Asians, you know that Vietnamese people think lowly of Cambodians, Cambodians think lowly of Chinese people. It's just the way it is. And so what happened was China opened up, and all of the people on social media, all the Thais on social media started freaking out. Oh my God, those dirty Chinese people are gonna bring their couve over here. What are we gonna do? Politicians, please do something. Now get this is just my opinion, it's just conjecture, I'm just philosophizing here. If I was a politician and there was a Twitter mob complaining about China coming to their country to bring them a disease that everyone's terrified of, I would want to cash in on that vote. So I might just say, well, everyone has to be vaccinated. You know, to hell with science, to hell with facts. I'm gonna appease the masses, the mobs of social media, angry mobs, and I'm going to make everyone vaccinated, have to be vaccinated to enter the country. Makes sense, right? That'll solve it. What?
We have free time?
No, I'm sorry, I'm working. You're trying to practice English? Okay, so now again, I'm not a doctor, I'm just a guy with a GoPro. But from what I've heard, the vaccines, they do not prevent transmission. They don't lower, hello. They don't prevent transmission. They don't lower the chance of catching COVID. And despite all the propaganda that says the contrary, it doesn't make you less sick when you do catch the flu. You know, a very bad flu. So why would any country that's been following the science, the real science, not the propaganda, left-wing nonsense that the world media stuffs down our throat every day, it does nothing. And not only that, they're dangerous. And if you don't believe me, then you're misinformed, because they are very dangerous. And there's a shitload of evidence proving that, especially Pfizer, is very dangerous, and it has a lot of side effects, and it's harmed a lot of people. It's called being vaccine damaged. It's a real thing. Now, most likely I'll be demonetized, and possibly I'll get a community guideline strike for saying so, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Do you know who really benefits from these lockdowns, from forcing people to get jabbed with these experimental, you know, vaccines? They're not vaccines, they're a form of therapy, an experimental form of therapy. Big pharmaceutical companies and also the insurance companies made record profits. They've made billions and billions of dollars in the last 2 years. And these people are the puppet masters, pulling the strings, manipulating the media, creating mass hysteria over something that no longer kills people unless you're already sick, elderly, or immune, or you have an immune deficiency. Now you can disagree with me in the comments, you can call me all kinds of names, you can do what you want, but that's what I believe. Hello. I almost forgot to mention they're also reinstating mandatory masks on airplanes. So yeah, that's back. Even though in Asia, for some reason, in Thailand, it seems like 90% of people, maybe 95% of people in the cities still wear those filthy, snot-encrusted, germ-ridden pieces of paper or cloth on their faces. The dirty, stinky paper that they've kept in their pockets for weeks or months, just collecting every little bit of bacteria and letting it grow like mushrooms on cow shit in their pocket before stuffing it on their face and breathing it in for the rest of their day. Yuck. Right, so I think I've said my piece. If there's any other details that you guys know about this, let me know in the comments. And you can yell at me and tell me I'm wrong, and you can unsubscribe. That's fine. I understand. I still love you. I still love you, even if you unsubscribe. Now, what can you do about it? Well, you can buy a ticket to Cambodia or Laos or Vietnam. They don't have the most ideal visa situations at the moment. The visa for Vietnam is only 30 days. And, well, I'm not sure about Laos and Cambodia, but I know that they're green, meaning you don't need any test. You don't need to stuff any crap up your nose. You don't need to have an experimental, highly dangerous therapies injected into your body. You don't need any sort of dystopian phone application to track your every movement and you know, update your social credit score when you act badly in the face of societal judgment. You don't need any of that yet, but trust me, the powers that be, they're just foaming at the mouth. They're so mad that they lost all that power. They're so mad that they're not making money off their vaccines anymore, that their record profits have dropped. And there's people out there just poking the fear button, trying to get us into a panic with the next variant, telling us we need our 10th booster for the most effective vaccine ever. It's so effective, you need 6 boosters. Right? Every year it's the same thing, and it's going to be the same thing every year. If we don't say something, if we don't stand up and say enough, if a country puts these mandates into place, you don't go there. Not only that, you mock them. You mock their government. You mock people who make their children wear masks. You make fun of them because it's stupid and idiotic and it's harmful. It's harmful on an individual and a societal level. It's utterly preposterous. And you know what? You're gonna get hate for it. That's okay. As they say, the Matrix will come after you if you speak out. And that's all I'm gonna say. That's my opinion. It's not the news. I'm not an unbiased journalist. I'm just a guy with a GoPro. Oh.